Scott. Hey, Jamie.
Greetings, Andy.
How you doing,
Hey,
buddy?
Andy. Hello, Scott. It
Hey,
is Thursday. It's time for another Andy's Trading Studio.
Yeah, Trading Studio with Jamie Hodge. All right, guys. Hey, thanks everybody for being here. Looking forward to today's presentation. Kind of a crazy day in the market. We'll see. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. But before we do, we have to get on with the disclaimer. Okay. Once again, guys, we are content providers here at Trade Ideas. We will generate a lot of great ideas for you when it comes to trading, but is not to be construed as investment advice. If you are seeking that, you need to seek a licensed person, that being a registered broker or an RIA. So moving on, before we do, Scott was hitting on this, so I want to present it to you in its full form here. We're going to have an open house starting October 17th that will run for 5 days. Guys, if you're not signed up yet, you do not want to miss out on this. It's just, I mean, I know a lot of you guys are coming in here because you're curious about trade ideas. You've been hearing a lot about it. This is your chance to, see Trade Ideas in its unlimited state. Basically, the premium version where you get Holly price alerts, every tool, back testing, odds maker, for just a small price of $8.88. So you want to take advantage of this. I know Scott will drop it into. I'm not sure where he'll drop it, but you will see, and if not, we'll make it clear to you by the end of this broadcast. So anyway, it's going to be, like I said, 5 full days of everything we have to offer, and we're going to have a price alert contest, which is going to be a lot of fun, with a huge prize at the end where you'll get a full year of TI Premium, almost a $2,000 value there. So, and we'll also have a little second place consolation prize there for a full hour of additional training. So anyway, guys, you don't want to miss out on that, and you'll hear more about it at the end of this webinar. All right, guys. Before we move on, I know some of you guys who are regulars in here get a little bit tired of hearing this, but it's so important to the people who just signed up, or the ones who are thinking about signing up. Is we consider ourselves much more than just a software company. Guys, we consider ourselves a trading educational company with incredible support. It all starts in the trading room. If you haven't been in there, you need to get in there. Barry will take you by the hand and show you the product, live as he navigates the market and fires off trades in real time, explaining to you what he's doing and how he's using the alerts. So it's a great place, guys, if you haven't been in there, to get in there and see the product and also see some great traders. We have over 500 people in there, and there's some really good traders. And throughout the week, guys, I'm not going to go through today each and every one of them, but we have webinars on Monday, 2 on Wednesday, and then of course this one on Thursday. So there's tons of support and education as we get you comfortable and familiar with the product. And the best way to do that, get familiar with the product, is through our one-on-one hour power training, which there's only 3 people that do this. It's me, Jamie, and Steve Gomez, all just with basically started from inception with Trade Ideas and know the product really well. And not only do we know the product, we know trading. So take advantage of this if you're just recently signed up. And if you're thinking about signing up, this is a great value. Please, as soon as you do get your software, go in there and sign up for your free hour of training. All right, let's go over the agenda for today. We're going to talk about always the market recap, and I'll have some interest about that, and I'm sure Jamie will throw his hat in the ring and have some observations as well. And we're going to talk about Holly. Holly was interesting today. She was down, and she fought back nicely, I thought. unlike a lot of humans who go further in the hole when they try to fight back out of a hole. But Holly did a real nice job, and we'll recap a few trades, one being that MENT that I have there in the agenda. We'll talk about a beautiful entry that she had in that. And then, time permitting, guys, I know I've been putting this, I'm going to try to get this in, just a little segment I have, just offering out some wisdom that I've gained over the over 18 years of professional trading, and just finding your niche when it comes to trading. So, Jamie, I guess it's time we talk about the market today. How do you feel about that?
You know, that's a pretty good topic. That and trading, I think, is a pretty good thing to talk about today. It would definitely be relevant, we should say. You know, the funny thing about what you were saying, that was my attempt at humor in case anybody was going, what's this guy talking about? But in any case, what you were saying about Holly, man, I mean, that chart right there at the bottom left side of your screen, the Holly price performance over the day, man, that thing does tell a story. And, you know, myself and Andy and some other people today were talking about how Holly reminded us of a human trader today, with the swing that she had today of, you know, being down and then fighting back all day and getting green by the end of the day. That's kind of a human characteristic. Of course, it's just a coincidence. But nonetheless, when you see the AI act in that capacity, you kind of have to chuckle, and it had a good ending. So, Andy, also, too, with the chart that you have up here, I'm sure you have some comments about the perfect gap down today and the slight extension just beyond the pain threshold before the buyers came back in today.
Yes, it was interesting to say the least. It caught me off guard. I really believe, and time will still tell. I don't think, I mean, the jury is still out on this market. I mean, one can't say just because we sold off hard at the open and fought back and still finished down on the day. We did hold that very important 212.50 line there that you see in the sand, which corresponds to our kind of a breakout that we had back in June. So we held that. Taking a look at the 5-minute real quick. Won't spend a lot of time on this, but yeah, we opened up today, sold off pretty hard on some pretty good volume, found our legs, but it wasn't easy. Attempted to bounce, you know, came back pretty hard, and then we had a nice little trend higher throughout most of the day, only to sell off there at the end and kind of put in kind of a thick-bodied spinning top, you could call it there. But for me, the jury's still out. I mean, we're still at the lower end of this band. We fought back, but we're just kind of right in the middle of this, you know, not right in the middle, but in the lower end of this range. It's kind of frustrating. It's kind of frustrating if you're, you know, bull or a bear, because, you know, it probably shook out a lot of people in the first 45 minutes of the day, and probably got a lot of people short, you know, only to bounce back and frustrate the shorts who were banking on, you know, this level of support being broken, and I thought we had a chance even to fill this gap down here at the 210 level, and I thought we had a chance to do it today, but we didn't. We bounced back, but once again, I think the jury is still out. One day, you know, does not make a bounce for sure, so we'll see what happens in the coming days. I'm still looking at this potential, you know, head and shoulder pattern I mentioned last night, and Steve with webinar with Steve, that it kind of looks like a kind of almost like a little Frankenstein with a disjointed right shoulder there, but still kind of, you know, developing there, and you know, I thought since we broke, we would come down and at least fill this gap, but time will tell. Jamie, do you have anything you want to add to that? It's just
no,
it's
in the spirit of Halloween, though, that does look like a little zombie type of head and shoulders there, doesn't it? Yeah. Even with the holiday
kind of
spirit.
a square head.
But yeah, I mean, usually we're looking at stock patterns that are starting to do this type of action right here, and of course, this just happens to be the SPY. Don't know if that wick is long enough to really be called a washout. It's more of a spinning top, like you said. But, you know, of course, we're not here to predict, but barring any huge macroeconomic news, I mean, earnings are going to be upon us. We'll probably just kind of hobble back up into that range, one would assume. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We always have front row seats. That's the good news.
I will say this, and I hadn't planned on talking about this, but there was warning signs, and these warning signs were actually produced by trade ideas. Jamie, back on this day, I think we had a webinar back in this day, and I think Holly, if you remember, put on like about 18 or 19 topping formations. Remember that, Jamie?
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, it may have been the day before. I can't remember, but and then we had, and I said the same thing. I'm seeing over exuberance, and my volume doesn't lie. It was spitting out so many alerts, that it normally only spits out about 2 or 3 a day, and I was seeing 10, 12 a day. So a sign of kind of maybe over exuberance to me. We did sell off, and I'm still seeing, a lot of deterioration in some basic stocks here. So I repeat once again, the jury is still out. I don't know if this is the start of something new as far as another bullish trend higher. Time will tell.
You are exactly right. Time will tell.
All right. Well, let me pull back up and move forward with the presentation here, because I think we're going to talk about Holly. I'm about to turn it over to Jamie, but before I do want to mention he'll have much more to say about this, but I do just had to screenshot this MENT Mentor Graphics today, because you're going to see it when Jamie talks about it and she pulls up Holly and for you. But it went off today at 27. You can see the arrow there, and 27.25. Just a beautiful entry. You will see when Jamie talks about it on the daily chart, it was even before it took out the prior day's high of 27.30. But and I looked at a lot of my alerts, the momentum alerts. This Holly beat a lot of the alerts for picking them up, 27.50 and even higher. But Holly was quick to the draw today on this beautiful entry there in Mentor's Graphic, and picked it up at 20.25. But with that said, Jamie, I'll let you take over the Holly talking. You do it so well, the way you break it down. All right. So if you want to take over the screen share.
Yeah, no worries. And the beautiful thing about this MENT trade is it's beautiful on 3 different levels. We could call it a 3-dimensional trade, and those are really good. And we'll get into the details of that in just 1 second. In the meantime, let me get my screen visible here. So Andy, just let me know when you can see.
I can see.
All right. That's always a good thing. Okay, so before we get into that mint trade and all the specific details of why it was so luscious, let's just kind of go over the broad stats here of what Holly showed up with today for the session. So let's just go ahead and sort by trade count, or I'll tell you what, by win percentage, doesn't really matter. So we had 11 strategies make the cut for today after all of the analysis was run the night before. So she showed up with 9 longs and just 2 little shorts here. And of course, we only got action from 5 of those 11 strategies today. So we can see the trade counts here for the respective strategies that did fire. 2 from this guy, 3. Most active guy was the 5-day bounce, kicking out 8 trades. And these guys came in pretty close to their expected win rate today. 64, slightly underperformed at 62.5, 70 versus 66.7. The on support today seemed to be the favorite for the completion of odds, because we had 2 trades, 2 winners. So it came in at 61.7% and performed at 100%. Whereas this guy, who had just literally been tearing it up over the past week or so, with the thus the 81% success rate coming into the session, got its lunch eaten a little bit today for about $1.25. On 9 trades, though, really not that bad for a losing day for a strategy, because they do happen. And today was the day for wait for the 8 to to have his little bit of market justice. But all in all, not a bad day, and really the thing to key off of today is this price graph over here. We're looking at the risk off, which is basically just assuming that Holly is sticking to all of her rule set, whether that's a time stop or a stop loss or any of the other things that are part of the rule set. So we can see here, got off to a green start pretty quick, but then boom, 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 go from green all the way down to red. So pretty much a complete 180, not quite. Well, yeah, we did, because we were just up a little over 40 cents, went down to slightly over, close to 70 cents at its worst point. So, being in the business as long as Andy and I have, and the rest of the crew, not to date ourselves or anything, but it's easy to do, looks very much like some performances from traders that not only have we participated in over the years, but we've seen countless times again and again, where you get up a little bit, maybe you're a little overzealous, maybe it's just not the market is not conducive, maybe you just feel like you have to make money today, which is easy for a trader to do. Long story short, it's just you're treading water all day, or slightly, bobbing below the surface, gasping for air. Finally, after trading all the midday blues away, where it's typically the least advantageous, you finally get green again. So you basically had to work all day just to kind of pay for your commissions, right? Nobody likes to do that. But it was an interesting day today with Holly's activity mimicking that type of activity, and then being able to kind of use this as a key, just like any other chart we might read. Once we saw this start to occur again, then we know the statistical void is no longer there. And I'm just speaking about a void. Holly's playing statistical probability during this time, and it's just not working. And then we finally start to see her, start getting some traction again. Then that's a sign for us to maybe pay a little bit of credence. All right, so what do we have here today? We had a total of 24 trades. So let's just kind of get into the individual trades now. And I'll just go ahead and sort by the risk off column here. And let's just go ahead and talk about one of the favorites today, which was MENT. Of course, this is the daily over here. And then the chart's marked up accordingly here, where blue box is Holly's entry price, and I've got the line drawn across here. So first and foremost, when we see Holly issue this trade at this time, we know that it came from the tailwind strategy, which when we come back here and quickly reference, okay, coming into the session, we know right off the bat we've got statistical probability, 60.7% on our side right off the bat. So that's the first characteristic. It's coming from Holly, it's statistically weighted. Now, when myself, many other traders see this, Holly's calling it right here, it's already passed this previous break here, which also happens to perfectly correspond with the range break since the open. Of course, these wide body candles, and of course, just so everybody knows, these are 5 minutes. These wide body candles here, pretty much plague the open day in, day out, with all the algos doing their business. And then, of course, they get a lot more normal after the first 5 minutes. So whether you're using here, or excuse me, the top of this body here as what you might play, or being a stickler for the rules and using the top of this wick, regardless, when we see it here from Holly statistically weighted, and then we can quickly look across and go, wow, slightly above the range. It's breaking out. Not only is Holly calling it here statistically weighted in our favor, but it's exhibiting one of my tried and true favorite intraday patterns. So that's characteristic number 2, you might say. Now, at this point in time, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that there was volume in this time period. But on a lot of other trades where it's not so exaggerated, the pattern is the same, but this initial move isn't so drastic. It may have just popped out and slowly crept up all day instead of doing, covering all of this ground in a 5-minute candle. But the point is, it would be easy to keep track of the volume at that point in time. So I've got, this is a shrunk down basically top list, and what I've done here is I've just pointed it to ME&T at that exact time. So just another cool little way that you can keep tabs on your trades here is by showing these smaller time frames. You pop a single stock in there. So we can see, yes, in that 5-minute bar, volume was absolutely tremendous because 100 is normal volume for these time frames. Of course, it was exploding on the 1-minute level first at 50 times normal, 10 times normal on the 5, so forth and so on. But as I said, where it's obvious here, on a less crazy break, it's hard to tell. But if you have a window like this to check, well, then you can get it straight from the eyes of the server as opposed to trying to rely on volume bars on your chart. So we had a Holly play, happened to coincide with a pattern that we humans like as well, and it was doing crazy volume as it was popping through here. I mean, that's a triple play right there. All right, that's 3 different things that are saying this trade is good, right? So not to say that even if it's just Holly saying statistical advantage, that's great. If it happens to coincide with another pattern, that's fantastic. And then volume kind of is just the cherry on the top here. They can work with 1, 2, or 3, but I mean the more the merrier. So just try to observe those things moving forward as you interact with Holly. And of course, once we're in this position, what do we do? How do we temper expectations, right? And not just go, okay, well, I'll get in when it stops, or I wonder how high this thing is going to go. I mean, clearly, ME&T is breaking out, and of course, I don't have my cursor tool turned on, but if we just drew a line across from here, we can see it even topped out above these highs. So what's going to happen with Mint tomorrow? Don't know. It'll be interesting. But this is a good guide for us to use in the intraday, so we can go, okay, popped up above here, it's pulling back. I've had my fun. I'm out because I don't hold overnight. Or if you do hold overnight, you can have that information as well. All right, a couple more of these guys to mark up as well. And of course, it's always good to see Holly have a few plays from whatever the hot sector was today, or some things that were definitely in motion. May not have been up or down the most, but there was good trading ranges in these stocks today. So the first one that I pulled up here is AEM. Of course, once again, we're looking at 5-minute candles here. And boy, what a beautiful play to get long, courtesy of our AI Holly. I mean, pretty much right there as it wicks out was pretty much not the absolute bottom of the day, but a good-looking play nonetheless. Of course, when we look over here as well, we can see that recently bottomed out. It's not in a void or anything like that, but the bottom line is, number one, statistical probability coming from the strategy on support, which came into the day almost 62% from the prior 40-day backtest. And of course, it was the big winner today, kicking out at 2 for 2. So right off the bat, once again, we have assurances from Holly, no guarantee of success, but statistically weighted in our favor. So whether we participated with Holly here, or we're like, okay, well, let's see if this bottoming wick formation kind of plays out. And of course, it did. Next candle that, opens up here, and we've got a nice wick, which from my standpoint, many other, just trading 101, if you're getting long here after that bottoming wick, all we do, whether we follow Holly or not, because her risk on this trade, where did it go? Smart stop here. Holly was assessing a 44-cent risk, and of course, that wasn't even anywhere near here. So the bottom line is once we see that bottoming wick come in and it's statistically weighted with Holly, whether we went immediately or whether we waited for that bar to close, give us a little comfort right there, and bought it here. You know, really nice entry. I mean, you just can't really peg them any better than that. Wouldn't you say, Andy?
Yeah, absolutely. AEM and Newmont, and we'll talk about Newmont in a minute, were both beautiful entries, and there's Newmont, and they were both time stopped, which means Holly optimizes, you know, these trades the night before, the afternoon, the night before, and they're optimized for on a time on a time stop. Well, we all know every day is different, and just because Holly is getting out of a trade, that's what we always preach around here. It doesn't mean you have to. So in Newmont, yeah, Holly only made what was it, 18 cents in risk-off profit, but
right,
she was
18.
Never, yeah, yeah, and risk-on was 50, but that was on a risk-on profit. Yeah.
Right. And so what Andy's saying here is, you know, Holly gets us long right here at a price of 34.30, and then we immediately get a pull in our direction and we go sideways. Well, you know, Holly's got to get out on her on support hold time, which we can see right here. That strategy is designed around a 60-minute hold time. So she's simply going to obey her rule set and plug out after 60 minutes, and you know, 18 cents was plugged. However, if me or Andy or Steve or anybody else that's been doing this for a little bit of time, if we're long and we're just kind of doing the sideways dance here, Andy, if anything else, I'm plotting another entry because, once again, in my simple little trading world, once she calls the entry there and we do this little sideways dance, it's off to the races again, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, I would have been setting my stop losses down here, but then we'd get second, entry opportunity, which is alpha that you can't necessarily see in here, and we can also call this going risk on per trade, because all we're doing is managing the trade. You know, you never have to make a decision in your head, hey, I'm going risk off or risk on for the whole session. It makes a lot more sense to apply risk where there's a pattern or an advantage on a trade-by-trade basis.
Absolutely. And one of the ways I look at it, guys, too, you know, when I'm trading, if I'm buying breakouts or chasing momentum, a lot of times, you know, I know I'm not the first to the party. I'm not, so I better keep an eye on it, and I'm more in scalping mode. But if I'm getting entries like on AEM or Newmont, okay, I'm telling myself, okay, I'm buying, I'm playing the contrarian here, and the thing about it is, when you play contrarian and you're buying into into weakness, you really need to let things work for you, because if you're going to have the guts to jump in front of the weakness, it is on support. So you do have that going for you, but the point I'm trying to make is, you know, I never want to buy into weakness like that. Take a chance by jumping in front of the downward momentum and then scalping it out for 10 cents. I mean, I'm looking at it, hey, I'm taking this entry here. I'm going to give myself a 20 or 30 cent stop, and I'm going to let this one work for me, because if I'm going to have the guts to buy, you know, something that's, and look at the daily too, it's in a massive downtrend. If I'm going to have the guts to do something and jump in something like this, I'm going to be rewarded for it. And about that, and I think it's wise to take that type of approach, because you know, if you're buying momentum and you're chasing, yeah, hey, I'll scalp, I'll take my 20, 30 cents and run. I got out, you know, before it turns. But once again, if I'm, you know, I don't want to say stepping in front of a falling. It's not a falling knife. You're buying on support, but you're buying at lows, and you're buying into weakness on a 5-minute chart. So when you do that, have a little more risk tolerance and try to stay in the trade longer, because you know, once again, you have the guts to do it. You need to be rewarded for it. I hope
Indeed.
that makes sense.
Indeed. And as you were sitting here, you know, describing that, I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, you know, I don't know if you ever had some of these guys back when we used to trade in actual offices, Andy, but guys that would sit there and look for interesting things to bring to traders' attentions, right?
Right.
Of course, the Squawk Box always did that. But I remember a few guys had guys that were just basically trade spotters. They'd bring it to their attention, and then the trader would either execute or not. And in essence, that's what we've invented here. It's the best trade spotter you've ever had because it's doing it with statistical probability. And before I forget this, I'm glad you got me thinking on that tangent because I wanted to reference this MENT trade one more time here. And what I wanted to speak about is tied to this column right here, exit reason. So, as most of you already know that follow Holly, we used to just have 3 exit criteria: stop loss, profit target, or timed hold was hit. But then we added reduce risk and profit save, because a lot of the times once the action starts getting a little volatile or wicky as the time passes, Holly will go ahead and get out of a profitable trade, or she'll get out of a losing trade a little early using that functionality. So a couple of people have brought it to our attention, and of course we started thinking about it as well, but of course it became quite obvious, and it's beautiful to see the technology function at this level. And this is what I mean. So MENT, here is the entry bar right here. And if we look at MENT, Holly held the trade the entire timed hold, which in this case was a 2-hour hold. Now, the beautiful thing about it is that the reason she didn't bail on the trade when it got all crazy like this is because that's the way the technology works. It's based on a time decay mechanism. So the longer that she's in a trade, the less volatility she's willing to accept. So she knew, well, in the beginning of this period, I'll accept this volatility. And then after it calmed down, no longer volatile, then that profit save technology never kicked in. So it was kind of a beautiful thing to see that, because the volatility was in the beginning of the equation. We got to stay in it for the entire time. And of course, depending on the type of trader you are and the type of risk management and scaling out of profitable positions that you employ, you might have made a little bit more than Holly did on this trade, depending on the size that you were in and if you scaled out accordingly. So, we like to showcase a lot of the things that you can't see, even though this is extremely valuable information. With a trained eye and repetition, you can extract a lot more alpha out of these plays on top of the impressive statistics that Holly's begin to rack up. And I think that's about it. I think that's about
very
it.
Well, yeah, very well said. That's it. That was interesting. Yeah.
For the for the minimum upside that she had on the trade count, there's still lots of things going on, lots of opportunity, and it's a beautiful thing because when we designed this entity, Holly, the AI, we never really knew what different types of layers might be, just for lack of a better term, whipped together out of thin air, all different types of data points, non-traditional data points that, the more that we watch it, the more we teach other people to watch it, the more we're learning, and it's a very exciting proposition moving forward. So.
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't today. It was not an easy day for artificial intelligence or humans. I mean, you get a big gap down. It kind of throws off a lot of the stats that Holly was optimizing overnight. Okay, on the big gap down, and then you sell off for 45 minutes and a lot of back and forth action. It wasn't an easy, and I was really impressed of how Holly did fight back and found a few good trades. It was impressive because it's not like the market just blew out and started turning green and keep roaring higher. She sold off there at the end. So we'll see what happens. But very well done, Jamie. Yeah, if you want to If you want to, do you have any other ones you want to talk about? Any other Pacific trades? Or you?
No, those three were pretty much, the epitome of what to look for, when you're engaging with Holly. The MENT, the AEM, and the NEM, all very classic examples of, identifying the pattern that is already statistically weighted, and then playing that pattern. Because, I mean, really, Holly's bringing us the soup du jour every day. It's like, okay, these are the flavors of the day. They're all going to have slightly different chart patterns, but I'm coming at you with statistical probability. And if we just reflected, Andy, I mean, all the trading that we've done in our past, if we ran a filter over all that performance and go, okay, what if we were weeding the garden back then with statistical probability? Because these patterns all look identical, but some of them have higher statistical probability based on X, Y, and Z, right?
Exactly.
So, that's what I like to try to get everybody to think about. It's like, seen some of these, of course, especially in election times, some of the talk show hosts will, man on the street, hey, can you name the 3 branches of government? Well, the shtick, most people can't, right? Just like if you if you polled a group of traders, 10, 20, 100 traders, and you say, okay, how many of you are applying statistical probability to each and every trade? I think the number of people holding their hand up yes would be shockingly low. I think most people rely, pretty much on technical analysis, and then you have some order book type activity. But what else do you have besides charts? So don't be that person that's not using statistical probability to increase your odds of success in the marketplace, because math is the only constant, right?
Exactly.
It's the closest thing we have to any type of guidepost or lighthouse in the marketplace. So in any case, that concludes our Holly wrap up for the day.
All right. I think I'm finally going to get it in, Jamie. It was. If you want to switch it back to me here, I will.
Yes, sir.
Pull back up.
You have the helm.
I do, and I've been rat holing this content for a while, so I'm finally going to be able to hopefully depart some wisdom on you guys. Just some of the 18 years that I have been trading, and I'm sure Jamie can vouch for this. And it's called finding your niche, and the one reason I really wanted to bring it out, because you have a very powerful tool in Holly. There's so much you can do with her. You got the artificial intelligence. You got alerts, top list. It's just very powerful. And because it is, I think sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming. And I think as traders we make it overwhelming because we really don't know what we want to do with it and what kind of trading we want to do. I know if you go into Barry's room, you're going to see a lot of momentum trading, a lot of low floaters on the move. That's fine, great, man. If that's going to be your niche, then great. But I think what's important is to find out what you're good at maybe more importantly, what you feel comfortable with. Because if you're not comfortable with it, I promise you're not going to be good at it. And there's so many different styles of trading out there. There's scalping, there's day trading, position trading. Taking a position like that Newmont, for example. Okay, you're going to say, okay, I'm taking 300 shares right here. My stop is 25, 30 cents, and I'm going to let it work for me until and you set your parameters on what you're looking for. It could be as much as a day or two. It could be a week or two. There's a concept called swing scalping that Steve and I developed at Today Trader, where we would jump in, catch the meat of the move for about 3 days, and jump out. If you want to trade gaps, you can trade gaps, reversals. If you just want to trade Holly, I mean, there's some people out there that are just trading Holly, and that's great. But the key is, guys, and once again, I do sessions all the time, and I see them in the chat room, and everybody wants, I want this alert, oh, give me this top list, and next thing you know, you have 15 or 16 alerts, and your mind is not able to comprehend all this stimuli coming at it at once. So and once again, it's a powerful tool. But I think if you would take the time and find out like I said, what you're good at, what you want to do, and then only build maybe 2 or 3 alerts, or at first it may take a while. Maybe you may want to have 7, 8 alerts and find out which ones are working for you. But for you beginning traders out there, it's going to save you a lot in the learning curve. There is a learning curve when it comes to trading, and most people lose money the first several months. I lost money the first year because I didn't have a great tool like Trade Ideas to help me out. I mean, this product will limit your learning experience, your learning curve. It will help it out tremendously. But during that time, you need to find out what you're good at, what you're comfortable with, and what you want to do. And then I'm telling you right now, every great trader I know has a niche, and they do one thing and they do it right. They're not all over the place, scalping this, positioning this, going to swing trade this. They focus on one thing, and that's what I want you to do. Once you find out what you're good at, then you can start working on striving to perfecting it. And you can use this powerful program that we have and build your tools, to hone your skills. Okay, because once you find out what you're going to good at, you're not going to be all over the place. Oh, I want that alert. No, that alert doesn't work for what I'm doing. I'm sticking with what I'm doing best. I'm going to focus on these 2 alerts, maybe 3, and I'm going to focus on them. I have a lot of alerts on my window, but I can promise you it's mostly for sessions I'm doing for people. I only look at about 2 of them. And so that's what I want you to do. Just cut down on the amount of alerts. Learn to focus on just a few, and you want to do one thing and do it right. And because I can promise you, I have met all the great traders I know. That's what they do. Because I'm telling you right now, if you have 8 to 10 alerts and you're trying to look all over the place, you're just going to be all over the place, and you're not going to focus. And that's the key to being a successful trader. You have to focus on what you do, what you want to do, and strive to perfect it. And I got a little example in the fast food business and finding your niche. I was thinking of what can I compare this to? In-N-Out Burger. They've been making burgers for about 70 years now. And you look at their menu. I just had one this weekend. Did you really? Good for you. I haven't had one in a while. I'm down here in Texas where there's Whataburgers every day. Well, they're pretty good too. But
well, that's not so bad.
No, it's not. But look at their menu. What do? You don't see chicken up there, fish up there. You see burgers and cheeseburgers and maybe some fries. But that's what they did 70 years ago. They found their niche. Okay, they're going to do one thing and they're going to do it right. And they're going to perfect it. And that's the idea I want you to have. When it comes to trading, you definitely want to hone in your skills and focus on just a few. What you want to do, and then just focus on a few alerts. Okay, I think that's going to wrap it up. I'm going to bring Scott in here and let him talk more about a promo we got in here, and we will hit on the open house as well.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So to thank everyone for coming, we give out a promotional code that'll let you save a bunch when you sign up for Trade Ideas. The code GETALPHA, all caps, is good this month to save you 15% on your first month or first year of premium. So you can also use the same code and get 10% off the same for Standard, so it applies to your first month of your first year. And even Standard comes with some great features like all the real-time data, the charting, and the full hour of one-on-one training. So as soon as you sign up for either Standard or Premium, just go to the support section, click on Training, and pick the best time and date that's open for you with either Andy or Jamie or Steve. Premium, of course, is really where the technology is headed and has access to our backtesting module, the odds maker, more importantly to Holly, the artificial intelligence engine, and also some other items like price alerts and red bar ignore, green bar ignore, other advanced features. So go ahead and go to trade-ideas.com/price. You can also download a PDF with this and some of the other slides from the presentation that have our contact information and information about the open house by going to the handouts panel on your GoToWebinar interface and just expand that and click on the PDF to download it. So starting next week on Monday is the open house. And we're encouraging everyone that's not yet a premium member to go ahead and register for this, because you can try out 5 full days of Holly, the AI, back testing, price alerts, for just $8.88, and the money covers your exchange fees because we need to pay the exchanges for the data, whether you're with us for a week or a month, but does give you that great access and also makes you eligible to enter a price alert contest where next Wednesday is the deadline on the 19th, and people that have access to the open house to the premium features will be able to set up 5 price alerts and submit that by the evening of Wednesday the 19th for a chance to win a full year of trade ideas, and that's worth $1,888. So it's a really great way to go. And then the second place is a full hour of training in addition to the hour of training that you get with your subscription. So essentially you get 2 hours of training that way. So tradeideas.com/open house is the easy link to get there. Just go ahead and sign up for just under $9. You get 5 days of the best, most cutting-edge technology in the industry. If you have any questions, just go ahead and email us at info@trade-ideas, trade-ideas.com. And then you can follow Steve at Today Trader on Twitter, and you can follow Dan at Trade Ideas 1, and you can follow Jamie Hodge at QuantBot. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/TradeIdeasPro, because we post some different content there sometimes. And phone number is a great way to get to us if you have a subscription question during regular billing hours. But any technical questions, email info@trade-ideas.com, and that gets routed by our support software. The recording will be up later tonight or tomorrow morning. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Thanks, Jamie. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, have a good weekend.
Have a
great weekend.
fantastic weekend.
Yep. Bye, guys.